girlfriend? It's your girlfriend, Dr. K of Girlfriendism International, and welcome to another episode of Gentle Confrontation. This series is how we're honoring Women's History Month and International Women's Day 2026, whose global theme is rights, justice, action for all women and girls. This year's call is about balancing the scales. And while the world talks about justice in legal systems, institutions, and policy, we're talking about justice in communities of girlfriends because we cannot fully balance the scales globally if they remain imbalanced relationally. And we're doing this work through something called gentle confrontation. In psychology, gentle confrontation is a therapeutic practice of compassionately reflecting truth back to someone, not to shame them, but to support growth. It is care with courage. It holds accountability and tenderness at the same time. And in girlfriendism, we lean into a philosophy of both and, not either or. Two truths can exist at the same time. Two experiences can be valid at the same time. And maturity is learning to hold that tension without collapsing it. So today's confrontation is this. Are we avoiding conflict and calling it peace? Or are we dismissing conflict and calling it boundaries? Let's explore both. There are two relational patterns we often confuse. Truth one is avoidance. Some women avoid conflict and label it protecting my peace. They go quiet, they withdraw, they suppress discomfort, they smile through resentment. They tell themselves it's not worth it. I'm above drama, I'll just move on. But sometimes avoidance is not peace. It is actually fear. Fear of being misunderstood, fear of being labeled emotional, fear of losing the friendship. Avoidance feels calm externally, but internally, it builds distance. Truth two is dismissal. But here's the other side. Sometimes what one woman calls avoiding drama, another woman experiences as being dismissed. Dismissal looks different. So it may sound like we're not talking about this again. I already apologize. That's your issue, not mine. Dismissal can also look like controlling how conflict is resolved. So demanding that someone respond on your timeline, requiring them to process exactly the way that you do, or withdrawing connection if they don't comply. Avoidance withdraws silently. Dismissal shuts the door loudly, but both erode relationships. So here's our both and philosophy, and here's the maturity. You may believe you are protecting your peace, and your girlfriend may feel unheard. You may believe you're being direct, and your girlfriend may feel controlled or judged. Both can be true. This is why girlfriendism does not teach but, we teach and, because but cancels and holds. So here's the practice and some reflective questions. This is where gentle confrontation becomes personal. Ask yourself, am I choosing peace or am I avoiding discomfort? Am I setting a boundary or am I dismissing someone's experience? Am I trying to resolve conflict or control the outcome? Do I want to be understood? And am I offering the same? Am I preserving connection or protecting ego? This is justice in community. This is balancing the scales in friendship. So here's the psychology of it all. Conflict activates the nervous system. Avoidance is often a freeze response, and dismissal can be a fight response. Both are protection strategies. But protection strategies, when unconscious, become relational harm. And here's something we must address in every episode. Assumptions erode relationships. When we avoid, we assume she won't understand. When we dismiss, we assume she's overreacting. But what instead of assuming, we just asked? Curiosity is more powerful than conclusion. So here's the practical tools that you can try. Instead of avoiding, try stating, I've been sitting with something and I don't want it to create distance between us, instead of dismissing. Or try, I'm feeling defensive right now, but I care about understanding you. Can we slow this down? Instead of assuming. Or try, help me to understand what this means to you. That is emotional intelligence, that is action, and that is balancing the scales. So if this year's call is rights, justice, action, then relational justice means you have the right to express yourself. I have the responsibility to listen, and we both have the obligation to repair. Justice without tenderness becomes judgment. Confrontation without love becomes control. And avoidance without courage becomes distance. Gentle confrontation is the middle path. Care with courage. The Girlfriendism Global Pledge says, in these spaces, we listen not to judge, but to understand. Avoidance blocks understanding. Dismissal distorts understanding, but listening restores it. So the question is not who is right. The question is, are we building communities of girlfriends strong enough to hold truth and tenderness at the same time? If this conversation stirs something in you, that is the work. Gentle confrontation is not just your average content, it is practice. And inside the Girlfriendism Global community, we practice this together. We practice repair, we practice accountability, we practice listening without judgment, and we practice choosing connection over ego. If you are ready to balance the scales in your own relationships, I invite you to take the Girlfriendism Global Pledge. Join a community of girlfriends committed to growth, not perfection, where justice is relational, where action is embodied, and where love and liberation are lived, not just posted. The link is below. Take the pledge, become a girlfriend, and help us to build this new ism. Until next time, it's your girlfriend, Dr. K, always in love and always in liberation.